welcome back to Clean with Kate. Since it's Anti-Procrastination Day, I thought I'd tackle that task that I've been procrastinating on, which is my ironing. If you've been watching any of my videos, you know that this is one of the tasks that I often procrastinate on. But you know what? I'm up early. The puppies are being really good, so I've got the iron heated up. I'm going to set a timer. I'm going to try and do for 15 minutes, I think, and then I'm going to go and start my early morning routine proper. So this is my very early morning routine that I sometimes do before I do my full morning routine. So my early morning routine usually involves dealing with laundry, doing a kitchen reset, but today it involves laundry and ironing. So I've dealt with the laundry. You can hear the tumble dryer going in the background. The puppies are up with me. I do tend to get up early before everybody else in the house. So my husband is still in bed. Hopefully he'll be getting up shortly. But I'm a very early riser. So I tend to get up. I've done this for years. When the children were little, it did help me to get a lot of things done before the children were up. I think because I've always worked. I've never not worked. For a long period of time I worked outside the home. And for the last, how many years have I worked? For the last 10 to 12 years, I've worked predominantly inside the home. Or I work from home, rather. I still work. The only period in my life I've had where I've not worked as a paid job of some sort, or self-employed, was when I was on maternity leave. And that was just wonderful. Oh my goodness. In those days you didn't get very much maternity leave, so I only actually got 6 weeks maternity leave, but it was wonderful and it was paid, which was really good. It was probably the best periods of my life. I absolutely loved being on maternity leave. I didn't go on maternity leave till just before the babies were born, so that I could have as much time as possible at home with them, which meant I did have to work until I was quite heavily pregnant. I think the maternity leave is much better nowadays, and you could take longer, but when I was, my youngest child now is 25, and maternity rights were not as good as they are now. Right, where are we going to hang this? Okay, I've got the stuff. Oh, the puppies are being so good. The stuff that I'm ironing, I'm going to hang up just to air, and I'll probably leave it there for 24 hours and put it away tomorrow. That saves putting damp clothes away, which is never a good idea when you live in an old house. We don't want to encourage the damp. And so this is a lovely warm room, and the clothes will dry very quickly in here. I have thought about getting a dehumidifier. Lots of people have said a dehumidifier would make my laundry dry quicker and would dry out my house. And I probably would have got one by now. I did actually order one online, but unfortunately the company I ordered it online from, which was Homebase, actually went bust. And luckily I did get my money back, because I'd actually ordered 2 of them, one for myself and one for my daughter. And I thought at one point I wasn't going to get my money back, but luckily I contacted their customer support on multiple occasions, and in the end a lovely chap refunded me in full. So I was very grateful for that, because it was quite a lot of money. And also my husband wasn't really a fan of getting a dehumidifier, and then for me to go and order it from a company that went bust was really stupid. So I haven't actually ordered another one since. But because he's not a fan, he thinks the problem where it will be, and he thinks I just need to open a window, which he may be right. But the problem will be, I think he thinks I'll forget about it and leave it on, and it will use lots of electricity. He's very conscious of our electricity usage, because we have a very smart meter. He has an app on his phone, in fact. Although I think he has just changed tariffs onto a nighttime one where you get lots of electricity at nighttime cheaply. So maybe he will rethink, and we will be able to have a dehumidifier, who knows. But I am not pushing it at the moment, just because it was quite stressful last time, because I'm trying to get the refund back. And soon it will be spring and the windows will be open. Oh, thank you for whoever shared their tips, actually, about condensation in the bedroom, because that was one of the reasons. Come on, you two, don't chew the crocs. The reason I wanted to get the dehumidifier was because of the level of condensation in some of the bedrooms on the windows in the morning is incredibly high. and I thought it would help with that. Everybody seemed to think it would. But actually, we've been quite lucky the last few weeks. It's not that many mornings that I've woken up to find the windows covered in condensation. I think that's just because it's been quite mild overnight. We've had a few, but I've used it as an opportunity to clean the windows. It's a good time to clean the windows when they're covered in condensation because they're already wet. I just get a cleaning cloth and give them a once over. Don't even need to apply any chemicals. So I kind of try to look upon it as an opportunity, but if it happens too often, obviously it's a pain. But because it's not happened that often, and it hasn't been a pain. Thank you for whoever shared the tip about opening the windows in the bedroom. That's such a good tip. I think it's just because there's such a blast of cold air at this time of year, so you don't really feel inclined to open the bedroom windows, but it is a really good tip, and it really does freshen up the bedroom. I'm very good at opening the windows in the shower room after we've showered. So what I do is I have my shower, my husband, we both have our showers, and I leave the window open then for 20 minutes or so while I finish my morning routine, collect my laundry, do all that stuff. And then by the time I've done all that, it's aired. So I probably need to do the same in the bedroom. But leave my laundry. What are you up to? That's not as easy to do when you're actually in the room. The reason I could do it in the shower room is I'm not actually in there. Whereas in the bedroom, I'm probably going to get a bit chilly, but I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to try it. If it's a nice sunny morning, I'm going to give it a go and see how I get on. I quite often, because the bedrooms are very cold, I quite often have to have a fan heater on in the morning when I'm getting dressed, just to take the heat chill off it. So I'm not sure how I feel about opening the window with the fan heater running. Don't think that will go down very well. Alright. Well, I haven't done a good job on that t-shirt, have I? Do you know, t-shirts sometimes are the trickiest things to get a good... It's really obvious if you haven't done a good job, isn't it? That's better. Whoops. Do you iron your clothes? I'm getting very hot actually. I've got this jumper on and I've got tumble dryer running and I'm getting boiling. Oh, I hope I'm going to be okay and not overheat. I might have to take a pause, take my jumper off. I've been going for 7 minutes. My timer says I've got another 7 minutes. Do you know, having you to chat to definitely makes the time pass quicker. I like having a bit of company while I'm ironing. And it feels, because you're watching, it feels like I'm not just talking to myself. I can get things off my chest. I love getting up early. I love getting things done before the day starts. Just puts me into a more positive outlook, I think, that I don't feel less overwhelmed, like I'm on top of things. I need to go and look at my control journal, actually, because my afternoon routine definitely needs a tweak. I think sometimes the problem for me is taking a break when I'm engrossed in something. I find it quite hard to take breaks. If it's something that I'm really enjoying or just really focused, I get into what's called flow. This has been a problem for me for a long time, but it's one of the reasons I use timers, particularly when I'm working, because I really enjoy what I do. I find I just get into flow, and where I don't want to break off from it, I'm so engrossed. I once worked for 7 hours, I think, at a standing desk without a break. Or maybe it wasn't that long, but I think it was a long time, longer than I should have done. And actually, I made myself ill from standing for so long. I got really bad pains in my legs. I thought I'd actually had a thrombosis in my leg from standing for so long, and I actually took myself to A&E. And they did lots of tests, but thank goodness, all I'd done was overstretch the veins, I think, from standing for too long. And not moving, because I was so engrossed in what I was working on. I was working on my computer at a standing desk, and I just didn't take a break. It's a really, really silly thing to do. So I've learned that lesson now, and I do move about more. I take more breaks. Because sitting or standing for long periods of time is really bad for your health. I've read a lot about it. And actually, they now think that sitting, they've actually nicknamed it, I think, sitting disease, is like the equivalent of what smoking was in the 60s and 70s. It's one of those things that everybody's doing, and and don't really realise that it's not good for us. But our lifestyles have changed from when I was a child. Our lifestyles have become more sedentary. I was a child of the 60s and 70s, and our lifestyles were very different. People didn't do jobs to the same degree where they just sit at a desk all day. The computers have changed things so much, and there was very little on telly. You couldn't watch a lot of television. Growing up as a child then, there was hardly anything on the television. So you had to get outside, you had to make your own entertainment. I had loads of hobbies as a child, and I played out a lot. And our childhoods were active and skinny. I was a very skinny child. I didn't have to work at it. But now our lives are so much more sedentary. And it is probably a risk to public health, this huge change in our lifestyles as a result of computers. And yesterday I wear an Apple Watch to count my steps, and I aim for 15,000 steps a day, which should be easy because my house is quite spread out, as you've probably seen if you've watched any of my videos, and I have three dogs, not two dogs. Sorry, Ted. I keep forgetting about Ted. He's like half a dog. So I'm pretty active, and the poor dogs even didn't get much attention yesterday. I was so engrossed in what I was doing. I neglected my puppies, didn't I? But I need to take a break in the afternoon and play with the puppies, or just take them in the garden for a bit of run around, because it's good for me as well as them. Taking regular breaks is so important, particularly regular physical breaks if you have a very sedentary job, because a lot of our recreation now involves sitting as well. So after I finished my very long day sitting at the computer, doing something I really loved, not wanting to take breaks, not using a timer, I then had my dinner, sat down, and then I watched television. I watched Netflix for a couple of hours. Again, sat down. So that was a very, very sedentary day. Luckily, I had walked the dogs in the morning, but then after that, I had very little activity. I didn't do my afternoon routine. I did a very limited evening routine. So your routines are not there just to keep your house tidy. I think your routines are good for your health. I need to be stricter with myself today and not let myself get so engrossed. I have got a slightly more active day planned today. I've got some fun planned as well, but there is quite a bit of sitting as well, so I will need to actually plan for some physical activity. Oh my goodness, I just realised as well, on my to-do list yesterday I had home workouts, but I was so engrossed in work that I didn't fit my home workout in. I didn't fit my home yoga in, and those are things that are so good for me. I know they're good for me. I even got myself on a star chart for them, for use stickers. And why didn't I do them? Do you find that if you're getting really engrossed in something, whether it's work or watching a particular television program, that you just get so engrossed that everything else goes out the window? I think that's the problem sometimes with Netflix, particularly with some of the series where it just keeps going and they always end on a cliffhanger, and then the next one just starts before you've had time to think. It's so easy, isn't it, just to lose time. A series that I often lose time with is Escape to the Country. I love an episode of Escape to the Country, and I live in the country. But I love watching the people house hunting. There's something very addictive about that. And also I love seeing all the different parts of the country, because we've lived in quite a lot of different parts of the country over the years. So I particularly like episodes of where it's a part of the country that I've either lived in or I've been on holiday. I find those particularly interesting. Do you have a favourite series that you like to binge watch? I have to be a bit self-controlled. I was strict with my bedtime actually, although I had just decided literally yesterday morning that I was putting my bedtime back to 9 o'clock just because I'd been feeling so tired. And then I was watching The Traitors, and I'd had a coffee in the afternoon because I was feeling quite wired anyway, and because I was working. And I think I wasn't sleepy at 9 o'clock. So I thought, I'll just watch another episode. So it was probably 10 o'clock by the time I actually went to bed. But my husband did remind me, I'd said my bedtime was going to be 9 o'clock. So which was very helpful of him. I was being a bit naughty last night. Alright, this is a Christmas pity. This definitely needs to go in the attic, doesn't it? How has it managed to stay out for so long when it's nearly the end of January? I don't know how that's happened. Do you know what I do? It's maybe been in the ironing basket it's probably been in the ironing basket since Christmas, because I haven't worn it for ages. And I've been a bit lax with my ironing recently. If you've been watching my videos, you may have noticed a lack of ironing. Right. Oh, golly, there's still it's Christmas tea towels as well. Do I reset? Do I go for another 15? I'd really like to finish this, but I'd really like to finish it. I don't think there's any water left in the iron. There's probably a bit of water in the iron. And see how we go. I might have a slurp of my coffee. Probably need another glass of water as well. I didn't drink enough water yesterday either, and I did feel quite faint. So that's another thing that I do when I get very engrossed. Not taking breaks means I don't drink enough water. So it's not good for my health on several scores. Right, to iron this tea towel. I think I might iron it on the other side actually. To stop, this is such a cute little tea towel. It's one of my Christmas ones. That definitely needs to go back in the attic. But I'm gonna iron it so it's ready for next Christmas. Pop that on the area. Just a really quick iron that, isn't it? Easy. It's easy, simples. What else have I got in here? It's t-shirts, black t-shirts. I sometimes wear black t-shirts when I work out. Although at the moment I seem to be in a white t-shirt mode. These have been, probably because these have been in the ironing basket for so long. Is that heating up? Oh, I don't think it's heated up yet. It takes a while when you put the cold water in. I think it must take a while to heat up. Oh no, here we go. It's my youngest son's birthday soon, and he was asking for a steamer. Golly, you know your children are getting into adults, don't you, when they ask for things for their birthday, like steamers. Isn't that incredible? We were having a steamer conversation yesterday. I've actually got a steamer that my daughter gave to me because her boyfriend's dad, I think, runs a steamer company. And it's really good. But I don't really use a steamer. I've only used it to steam hairdressers, to be fair. And I wonder whether I should give him my steamer to use, or whether I might suggest to her that she gets him a steamer, because she knows so much more about them than I do. And she uses them. But it would be a good present for her to get him. Do you use a steamer? Do you use a hand steamer? Do you prefer a hand steamer to an iron? What is the advantage of a hand steamer over an iron? Is it quicker? Or is it just for an occasional use if you've just got one item to steam? Because what I like about the iron is once you've got it out, because it's a bit of an effort, you have to fill it with water, you have to empty it at the end, then you tend to actually do a whole batch of ironing. Is it the same with a steamer? Do you batch it? I suppose an iron is just a steamer. Because I do use the steam. You probably don't need an ironing board with a steamer. Maybe that's the difference. It takes up less space. Whereas I'm really lucky that I have this dedicated laundry room where I can leave my ironing board set up. Before we had this room, we only built this room on the house a couple of years ago. But before we had this room, I used to have to put it away after every use, which made it really a big effort to iron. It also meant I tended to batch it up until I had so much ironing that it would take me several hours to iron it, which meant I dreaded doing it, which now I don't have to get it to that point. I used to basically get the ironing board out, stick it in front of the television and iron for a couple of hours, and loads of ironing. And then another hack that I had, another ironing hack, when I first moved here, I had made a new friend, and we both, because our children were very similar age, we had a similar amount of iron. We used to iron together, and that was so joyful. And we'd set our ironing boards up together. We'd have a huge pile of ironing. I think we'd usually do it here in my house, if memory serves me right. I don't think we ironed at her house as much as here. And then we'd just work our way through it and chat and laugh, and that was a really fun way of ironing. I suppose you could do it virtually. That'd be easy, because she used to have to bring her ironing here I had 2 ironing boards at that time, so it meant we could both iron together. I think I must have had 2 irons as well. I've only got 1 ironing board now. Do you know, I think I bought the extra iron and ironing board because it was such fun to do it together. Just shows you how much extra incentive it was. I think I probably bought them in a charity shop. But anyway, we don't iron together anymore, sadly. We're still really good friends. But I tend to do my ironing now in the early hours, like this. Oh, there's somebody else getting up. I can hear noises. Is it well, I'm missing a puppy. Hello, puppy. What are you up to? Where have you been? I'm running out of space on this area. I need to move it round. I think the pups might need to go out, possibly. They're a bit restless. So, are you low? Yeah. I'm not sure how much more ironing we'll get done. Do you want to go out? No. Okay. I think they're probably thinking they'd like a different treat. They love their chews, but they'll get... Oh, I think that one does want to go out. Okay. Come on then. Let's pop you out. Out you go. Go on. Out. There's some chews out there, actually. I think she's left one out there. Do you want to go out? Go on. What one does, the other does, usually. They're definitely a pair. My twins. Right. Do you know, at Christmas, I think my children played a trick on me and my husband. They all came to stay. And when they'd left, I think we did maybe bath the dogs while they were here, but when they went, I noticed that the dogs were behaving differently. It was as if Sophie was Molly and Molly was Sophie. And I said to my husband, I think we've accidentally switched the dog collars when we bathed them. And he said, no, we definitely didn't, because we only bathed one at a time, and then we put the collar straight back on. In fact, I think he said the collars were on while we bathed them, so the collars got washed. And so I thought, and I was convinced. I managed to have a few ways I can tell them apart, because they are pretty much identical, but their teeth are slightly different. Their fur on their rear end is slightly different, but their behaviour is really different. Their personalities are very individual, and definitely they had the collars had somehow got switched. So I think what may have happened, I think one of my children has switched the collars on me as a little joke, and thought, I wonder if Mum will be able to tell, because I was saying to them, I can tell the puppies apart by their personalities, and they were probably thinking, yeah, right. Let's find out if that's true. And they haven't actually asked them. I don't know which child it was. I suspect it may have been one of the boys. I don't think my daughter would necessarily do that, because she has dogs too. I don't think she'd switch the collars, but I think the boys might think it was a funny joke to do it, because they don't have dogs. But I must ask them, what do you think? Should I let on, or should I just keep quiet? Should I let on that I know that somehow the dog collars got switched at Christmas? It's quite funny, really. Every time if we bath them, we have a little panic and think, oh my goodness, do we take the collars off? We have to remember, just bath one dog at a time and take one collar off at a time. And when they go to the groomer, it's always a little bit of an anxiety. They've only been twice, but there is always that little anxiety of, oh my goodness, let's hope she puts the collars back on right. But the other tell is the dogs know their names, which is amazing, really. Absolutely amazing, considering that they've always been together. But they do know their names. We tested it yesterday, and they know them. I don't know how, they're amazing, aren't they? Dogs are so intelligent. Sort of think, do they know their names? But yes, they do. I can now call different dogs out of the pack by name. It's incredible. I think it's because when we walk them, we tend to walk them in a particular way. So when we're walking, I will usually walk Sophie, because she doesn't pull as much, and also she's happy not to be out at the front. She doesn't like being out at the front. In fact, she hates to be out front. She likes to follow. She's definitely not a pack leader. And Molly is the complete opposite. Molly likes to be out front. If she's not out front, she's not happy. She does pull a lot on lead. And I find that quite hard. If I'm walking her, my husband tends to walk a bit faster than me, so he quite often ends up in front of me. particularly if we're walking on the road or on a pavement. And Molly really is not happy about that. She would start pulling me and dragging me along the road, which I find quite unpleasant. So we have this, I tend to walk Sophie because she's easier to walk, and my husband tends to walk Molly because she's much stronger and more powerful dog, and more headstrong when she's on lead. And that means that because I'm constantly sort of saying Sophie's name, we're training them to walk, trying to train them to walk to heel, and she's getting a lot of reward for walking to heel. Same with Molly. They know their names. It's incredible. Because whoever's walking them uses their name with them a lot and then rewards them. So as soon as I say Sophie's name, she looks at me like, where's the reward? So to her, I don't think she really knows it's her name. She just knows that when she hears that word, she'll get a reward for coming or looking at me. I reward her for looking at me, which means she stops. If she is pulling, she stops pulling and looks at me and walks with me. But it's wonderful. It's just so wonderful. And they've also realised that they're not tethered. So when I'm feeding them now, I can feed them all in the same room together. And so I get the food ready, and then I put Ted in a separate room, because otherwise the puppies are quite greedy and they will try to nick his food. So I get him out of the group. I call his name so he comes out of the group. Oh, let's just iron that. And now the puppies know that that's not them. So initially when I was doing this, they would try to come out of the group too. They would try to come to me, but now they know, no, we're not. If she calls that word, that's not us. She doesn't want us to come. And it's great. It's great being able to call them like that. Right, where's this gonna go? Nearly there now, aren't we? Does this hoodie need ironing? Probably not, to be fair. It's a really scruffy old hoodie of my husband's. It's getting to the point, I think, where he probably needs to get rid of it. It's covered in paint. Do you know, I don't think I want to iron it. It's going to get paint on my iron. I think that should either go now, or that should just be used for painting, decorating, painting furniture, because it's full of holes as well. Chopping logs, those sort of jobs. Well, you might not want to wear a nice newer one, because he's had this for many years, and it was his favourite hoodie, which is why it's so worn, full of holes. But now I think it's probably getting too scruffy. I'm sure he still loves it. It's probably comfy and soft. Right. It's really hard sometimes getting rid of, I say I've got this lovely cardigan, this lovely cashmere cardigan that I've had for a long time. And it's so soft and comfortable, but it's so scruffy. The only place I could wear it now is in bed, because it's so warm. Right, okay, let's hang that up. Let's hang that up there. Okay, I can switch the iron off. I finished. Woohoo, go me. How long did that take? I still got 2 minutes to go. So all that ironing there on that area, golly, that is a lot of ironing, isn't it? I'm gonna have to adjust my camera actually. Golly, I hope you've been able to see and not just had a really good view of my feet. All that ironing I did in less than 15 minutes. Golly, do you know, I've been thinking about that ironing. I did another lot the other day, so it actually probably took me 2 lots of 15 minutes. And I've been thinking about it. I'm just emptying the water out so it doesn't go mouldy. Was it 2 lots of 15 minutes? It was, wasn't it? I've just done 2 lots of 15 minutes. Golly, I babbled on for 2 lots of 15 minutes. I've still got 1 minute and 44 left, but I'm going to call it a day. Probably need to let the puppies back in. Straighten this area up. Golly, look at all that I've done. I'm really proud of myself for doing all that ironing that I didn't want to do. Come on, guys. Where's your friend? Well, we've got Molly. Sophie, come! Sophie! Come on. Yes, I know. Good girl. Good girl? What a good girl. Good girls. What a good girls. Woo. I like it when you come. Whoops, I've dropped the treats. Just going to reward them for coming in, because I don't want to be standing out there waiting. Good girls. They're very pleased with themselves, aren't they? Hey? Right. Okay. Thank you for joining me. The timer is about to go off, so I think I'm going to I'm going to stop it when it does. Thank you for joining me for my anti-procrastination task today. Let me know what your anti-procrastination task is and how you're getting on, if you're using a timer to keep you on task or to make you take breaks. I find the timers an absolute game changer for me. They're so useful in so many ways. Today, I need to use them to make me take breaks. Hope you're enjoying the videos. If you are, please like, comment and subscribe. I love to hear how you're getting on, and please, if you've got any tips, share them in comments, any ironing tips or self-care tips or tips for how to take more breaks and get more exercise. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye for now.